Good afternoon, welcome to Camnet TV Midday News. I am Precious Mzeya Sakaleji. The headlines. 4 former Twin Palm secondary school pupils accused of murdering their colleague walk to freedom. Over 1.8 million worth of property destroyed in political violence as the Electoral Commission of Zambia lifts campaign suspension for the Patriotic Front and the United Party for National Development UPND in LUSAKA. Join me with the Midday News in detail after this commercial.
Giving birth to my firstborn son was a challenge, not because of maternal complications, but because the health center was so far away. Today, the newly built health center is only meters away. So with my second-born, it was so much easier. As a mother, access to antenatal and postnatal health care is a priority. That is why I commend the PF government for bringing quality health care near our homes.
May I please have 1 beer and 2 glasses?
Do you have champagne? Yes.
Hold that thought. No champagne just for the month. You know we gotta keep on texting R to 9595.
I'm sick and tired of this R9595.
You stand a chance of your lifetime to win a brand new 2020 Range Rover Evoque when you text R to 9595. From as little as 5 kwacha, you get 1 entry. 10 kwacha for 3 entries, and 20 kwacha will give you a whopping 7 entries. There will also be daily and weekly consolation prizes up for grabs. That's great news, right? Competition runs from 12th of May to 31st of August 2021 and is only open to Zamtel subscribers. Terms and conditions apply.
Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
And now the Midday News in detail. The Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ has finally completely lifted the campaign restrictions slapped on the Patriotic Front and the United Party for National Development in LUSAKA province. Speaking at a media briefing, Chief Electoral Officer Patrick Shindano says the commission engaged with leaders from 2 political parties who have since signed a peace pledge that political violence comes to an end. And Inspector General of Police Kakuma Kanganja says 1,884,000 kwacha worth of property have so far been lost due to political fracases during this year's campaign period.
2 of Zambia's biggest political parties, the Patriotic Front PF and the United Party for National Development UPND, have signed an agreement to end political violence in LUSAKA. This follows a meeting held on 19th July 2021 where the Electoral Commission of Zambia engaged leaders from the 2 political parties to devise ways of ending violence in LUSAKA. And at a media briefing held in LUSAKA Tuesday morning, ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Patrick Shindano says the commission has fully lifted the physical campaign suspension slapped on the 2 political parties.
And in the spirit of moving forward, it was felt fit and desirous that the 2 political parties came together and indeed come up with resolutions that we hope that will basically be cascaded to all the structures of their political parties.
NPF Secretary General Davis Mwila took time to highlight some of the content in the agreement and has pledged that his party will not subscribe to violence.
1. All campaign activities must be held with strict adherence to the COVID-19 health guidelines. 3. The PF and the UPND should adhere to approved campaign schedules, and any changes to the campaign schedules must be approved by the Zambia Police.
In the premises, we urge and direct our members to strictly adhere to the code of conduct of elections. The party shall not protect anyone who willfully disobeys the law without any justified reasons.
And Inspector General of Police Kakuma Kanganja says 61 people have so far been arrested in connection with various political offences such as destroying of campaign materials, assault, damage to property, being in possession of offensive weapons, among other things.
As of yesterday, 19th July 2021, we have so far arrested 61 suspects for various offences.
Some of the suspects have already appeared in courts of law, while others are still being investigated. The value of property damage so far during political activities is 1,884,000 kwacha.
With physical campaigns in Lusaka now back on the trajectory, party leaders have a responsibility to tell their cadres not to engage in political violence as 24 days remain before the general elections. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Lusaka High Court Judge Sharon Newa has acquitted 4 former Twin Palm School pupils who were accused of murdering Ryan Piri, a grade 12 pupil at Kabulonga Secondary School. This was in a matter in which Elvis Nsonkolo, 19, was jointly charged with 3 juveniles aged between 16 and 18 for the alleged murder of Ryan Piri on the 4th of December 2020 during a fight between pupils from Twin Palm and Kabulonga Boys Secondary School. The court, in delivering a 2-hour judgment, discharged all the 4 pupils on grounds that there was no evidence linking them to the offense to state that they committed the offense.
After spending close to 6 months in incarceration on allegation that they killed Ryan Piri, who was a grade 12 pupil at Kabulonga Boys Secondary School last year, using golf sticks, these 4 former Twin Palm Secondary School pupils walked to freedom Tuesday morning when the court acquitted them from the allegations on account that no direct evidence linked them to the offense. This was in a matter where Elvis Sokolo, a former head boy at Twin Palm Secondary School, was jointly charged with 3 juveniles aged between 16 and 18 for the alleged murder of Ryan Piri that occurred on the 4th of December 2020 during a fight between the 2 schools. In a 2-hour judgment delivered Tuesday morning, the 20th of July 2021, Judge Sharon Newa said that despite Ryan telling the witnesses before his death that he was beaten by Nsokolo, there was nothing to show that the accused particularly assaulted him. She further stated that with regard to the 3 juveniles, nothing was mentioned about them and that there was also no sufficient evidence to prove that they were present at the scene when the alleged confusion by the pupils from both schools occurred. In a judgment, Judge Nawa acquitted the 3 juveniles due to lack of evidence. He said the death of Ryan, which resulted from lawlessness exhibited by the pupils from both schools, was a caution light for all schools' authority to be more careful in handling pupils' misconduct. After the court freed them, relatives could not hide their excitement.
I'm so grateful, God. This is what I wanted. My woman and Elvis, my children, salute. I have the right to come. Oh my God. A life in fire I need. I don't. God, my God, stand it, my son. God, I worship you. This is what I wanted. Oh my God, what more can I say?
While from afar, the deceased family stood with sadness. Ryan, 17, was a grade 12 pupil at Kabulonga Boys Secondary School and was allegedly beaten to death by pupils from Twin Palm Secondary School on December 4th, 2020. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In other news, a Lusaka-based economic analyst, Dodia Yusuf, has questioned the sustainability of the debt swap going forward, saying it can lead to more national domestic debt. Speaking to Camnet TV in an exclusive interview, Mr. Yusuf explains that government will have to source for more funds to finance the private lending companies, which he doubts such resources were budgeted for. He adds that the debt swap mechanism is likely to take away the lending businesses of the private microfinance institutions while the government becomes the major lending institution. Meanwhile, Mr. Yusuf noted that the debt swap should be well executed by stakeholders to avoid a negative impact on the economy.
The idea of a debt swap announced by the government has continued to attract criticism from various stakeholders. According to the government, the mechanism intends to aid the civil servants in settling their debt from both government and private microfinance institutions, as indebted civil servants will in the next 3 months not attract salary reduction. The question that one may ask is, how will the debt swap affect the private lending institutions? A Lusaka-based economist, Yusuf Dodia, in an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, explained some of the dangers of such a move.
The government is saying we are going to charge 25%. Then it is within the realm of competition with the private sector, meaning if the private sector was charging 30%, 40% interest, they would probably reduce to 25% to be competitive with government, so that they continue to provide this service maybe more efficiently than government, but on the same terms and conditions. So the private sector workers and public workers would benefit from it. But if there's zero interest rate, then clearly this is a kind of subsidized facility, because the banks and private lending institutions cannot give you money with zero interest. So technically the government would be taking away this particular area of business from the private sector.
Meanwhile, Mr. Dodia questioned the sustainability of the debt swap on the Zambian economy going forward.
We'd have to see how sustainable it is, which really brings us to the question of what is the impact going to be on the economy, because depending on the size of this debt swap, it will definitely demand that certain budgetary allocations are made, which are supplementary allocations, or government would have to forego some other programs in the 2021 national budget in order to finance this facility, because it was definitely not part of the 2021 budget that was formulated last year. So one then looks at it from a perspective of viability, sustainability, and of course the long-term impact.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Media practitioners who were skeptical about taking the COVID-19 vaccine in Zambia have now embraced the vaccination program as COVID-19 cases continue to escalate. Following myths and misinformation surrounding COVID-19 vaccines, journalists and the general citizenry were reluctant to get immunized against the COVID-19. Zambia's cumulative number of vaccination to date now stands at 232,363 dose 1 vaccination, 225,464 AstraZeneca, 6,899 Sinopharm, and of these 68,837 have gone on to receive dose 2 vaccination.
When talks about the COVID-19 vaccination program started, journalists in Zambia were among the people who were reluctant to get immunized. The vaccination program was coming at a time when false social media narratives were making the rounds, and reports of blood clotting in some European countries exacerbated the issue.
Recently, the government procured defective condoms and gloves. So I think we need to see to it that government actually give us full information before we receive this vaccine.
But now, Zambian journalists who are among frontline workers in the COVID-19 response have continued to advance through the Desert Links project and the Media Science Cafe Mesika, where they continue to interact with scientists on issues pertaining to the pandemic. Matthews Marazika is a journalist at one of the local radio stations in Zambia's capital city, Lusaka.
I'm feeling okay. There is nothing which I can say, probably I have this problem from the time I got vaccinated. No, I'm just fine.
He has a word of advice to media practitioners and citizens at large.
The person who has gotten that, so I just wish to encourage people, my fellow journalists, being one of the frontline workers, to also consider taking the COVID-19 jab. because that's the only way we can protect ourselves from the spread of the COVID-19, as well as from getting, the virus.
People have now embraced the vaccination program as the COVID-19 cases continue to escalate.
I never had any side effects. I can just encourage people to go and get the vaccine. We can just observe other people are also getting the vaccines, but they are not getting any, they are not showing any effects.
Authorities have continued to assure the public that vaccines are safe.
The good news is that we've in the pipeline other vaccines we're expecting. We've updated the country before. We are expecting 4.4 million of Johnson & Johnson through the Africa Union, Africa CDC AVAT platform. We are also expecting 100,000 doses of Sinopharm. Things going to plan. Within this quarter, we should receive all these vaccines.
Zambia will be receiving 150,200 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine on Wednesday, 21st July 2021. The question is, will you get vaccinated or not? Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
With that news item brings us to the end of Camnet TV Midday News, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. 4 former Twin Palm secondary school pupils accused of murdering their colleague walk to freedom. Over 1.8 million worth of property destroyed in political violence as the Electoral Commission of Zambia lifts campaign suspension for the Patriotic Front and the United Party for National Development in LUSAKA. Thank you for joining me. I am Precious Mzeya Sakaleji. Remember to mask up, avoid crowded places, wash your hands for at least 20 seconds or use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Stay safe. Good afternoon.